Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Roundup. I'm your host, as always, Steve, being joined by this knucklehead again, Zach Burr. And we got another fun one for you lined up here for you today. We're going to be talking some Phillies, going to be talking some playoff hockey, playoff basketball. We got some venom to unload about last week's Eagles game. We also gonna be talking a little bit about the Rams this week, some NFL news. Talking a little MMA, some combat sports news, but before we get in that, let's get into our sponsor, and we are brought to you by our doc, make him your doc, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton location. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. How are we feeling today, Mr. Burr? How are we feeling today?
Well, you said there's gonna be a little venom unloaded. You said it like way too under control. Like, oh, we're gonna unload a little venom. No, we're gonna unload some venom, Steven. Okay,
we are. We definitely are gonna unload some fucking venom today, my brother. I know.
Yeah, well, I think we're a little fired up now. And we're gonna be able to keep it. We've had some time, obviously, to calm down from Sunday, and I think we'll be able to put some things in perspective. We know Miles Sanders and Lane Johnson are playing, things like that. So a lot of things to talk about there, but. Yeah, you were way too calm about the way you said that. And you didn't pick up on the beard thing. We're the bearded brothers, Steven, and we've got to embrace it. Last week, I can't remember who it was that gave us that nickname in the chat. Whoever it was, thank you. We appreciate it. It's awesome. It just makes it hard because now I can never shave whatever the hell this is that's growing on my face. We've got to leave it there.
Yeah, but let's get right into it. Like you said, we got some things to unload, some venom to unleash, and it's getting right into it with some Matt Klentack. And but let's do our sponsor for our poll question, and it's brought to you by Ambuck Services. That AMBUCK Services.com. Call Michael Ambrose. Tell him A2D say you 20% off your gutters, anything around your house. He's got you covered. Ambuck Services. And that poll question is: will Matt Klentack, that freaking scab, still be a freaking GM of our Philadelphia Phillies next season? Agree, disagree, Mr. Zach Burr? What do you got for me?
Will he be the GM next year? No. And I thought about this earlier for a little bit, and it didn't take me long to come to a conclusion. I think I know no matter what. Like I thought, okay, if we make the playoffs and something like that happens, does it turn into a yes? Does he possibly save his job? And I said, I thought about it for a minute and I said, no, you know what? I actually trust the one thing I trust about John Middleton. I think he showed this last year when he showed the balls to fire Gabe Kapler, knowing that Kapler, was Klentack's guy, that Klentak and that Andy McPhail did not want to fire Gabe Kapler, but Middleton made the decision as the owner, as all that, my money that's on the line. We're firing this guy, and I'm hiring Joe Girardi. He's shown me enough that if he comes to the decision that this is just not the guy that he wants in a position, he will pull the trigger and make it happen, regardless of anything else surrounding it. So I think one way or another, we make the playoffs or we don't. I think John Middleton sees all of the outside noise about Matt Klentak, how unpopular he is in this city. I think he definitely sees the results of the bullpen that is 100% Matt Klentak's, doing. And I think he sees, that as much as we're in the playoff race, if we could have, even put together a half decent bullpen, we're probably a playoff lock, and we're looking like a team that could maybe show a little something in the postseason. And now we're just a team that's hoping to make the postseason. And I think he's a smart enough guy to say, I don't want that. I don't want to be the team just making the postseason. We need to go in a different direction.
Well, I mean, and the other thing is you got to think of at the same time is like why is Charlie Manuel special advisor? Why is Gillick a special advisor? If we're still sitting there seeing nothing but failure coming from this general manager. It's like they completely ignore what these guys have to say, and it's nothing but whatever the analytic team's throwing out. I mean, is that the feeling you get? Because that's the feeling I get.
To be honest, I think Gillick and Charlie Manuel have jobs because they're popular in this city because of what they helped this organization do at one point. And it's just, oh, look, Pat Gillick and Charlie Manuel work for the organization. I really don't think they have any fucking input or any say into anything that's going on, if I'm just being honest about that whole thing. But in order they probably want to have a say, or should they have a say? I mean, what, Gillick's got to be close to 80 years old now, and Charlie Manuel's in his mid-70s. They're great baseball guys. You don't have a conversation with them about baseball, but I'm sure both of them would tell you neither one of them has the energy or the desire to try to be involved in running the day-to-day baseball operations of any organization. So, the better question, what you're getting at is, if we fire Klentack, what direction do we go? I have no fucking idea. I hope they don't bring Ruben Amaro out of the broadcast booth and throw him back into that role. I might kill myself. But I literally might stop being a Phillies fan over that.
As I hear people sitting there saying that he should be brought back, I'm like, are we seriously going back?
Yeah, and listen, Ruben, people can. I've had this argument with people a million times. Okay, I don't like Ruben. I think Ruben imploded what was a great team and turned it into one of the worst teams in baseball. But we could go back and forth on that all day long. I think the bottom line is, regardless of what you think of Ruben in his tenure, then the last thing we need right now is a retread of any kind. Regarding any of that, I think the best thing would do to sit down with Joe Girardi and say, who is a guy that you like? Who is somebody that we can bring in to be in charge of this front office that you could see yourself working with? And this can be a team effort and a group effort, and we can put together a winning product as quick as we possibly can. I think that's the best way to go about it. And if you need to, I don't want to just take a chance on some guy either. Like, if you need to, if Middleton needs to reach into his pockets and go out and get somebody, a big name type of general manager, president of baseball operation, whatever the hell you want it to be, maybe that's what he's got to do. I know a lot of Yankees fans right now that are very unhappy with Brian Cashman, and I can tell you one thing: I'd be very happy with Brian Cashman in Philadelphia in any fucking role.
I'm not sure Philly, New York hate, brother. That's what that is. All that.
And I'm not trying to make say, Brian Cashman's going to be the next Phillies GM. I'm just saying, it's not as much to me as about, well, if you fire him, who are you going to replace him with? I don't fucking know. I'll figure that out at the time. But the guy needs to go. McPhail can go with him, and then we'll figure that out from there. We'll figure out our next step after that.
Joseph's over here, absolutely right. Philadelphia has, probably outside of the Flyers, we have the worst GMs right now. Absolutely. Matt Klentak.
He's just a guy that's in over his head. And you know what? What's really starting to piss me off about this, Steven? I want to get your opinion on this, because it's one thing to be bad at what you do. I can't stand when you try to sit there and insult my intelligence as a fucking fan and play me for a goddamn fool. Like I don't have two eyes in my head and I don't know what the hell's going on the field. You said we have enough pitching. Enough pitching, meaning we've got enough pitching to fill a roster. That doesn't mean any of them are any fucking good, Matt. Okay? We've got enough pitching. Well, yeah, technically you've got 14 of them on the roster. What the hell does that have to do with anything, though, if they all suck? Good look. I can't stand it. That's what Kapler used to piss me off with that shit, and it's no wonder that they're so tight with each other. But Kapler did that last year, in a game where we lost 13-4, and Pedro Florimon pitched 2 innings for us and hit a home run. And after the game, after we lost by 9 runs, Kapler comes out and he goes, "How about that Pedro Florimon? Isn't he an inspiration?" No, we just got our fucking ass kicked. What are you talking about? An inspiration? No. It's not. It's disgusting. And Klentack to try to sit there and tell us, "Oh, well, yeah, I think we've got plenty of pitching," is disgusting. It just irritates the living hell out of me as a fan, because that means he's so out of touch with this city and what this fan base is in all sports that he shouldn't be in this role. You go do that in a city that doesn't give a fuck one way or another. You come into Philadelphia and you try to lie to the people in this fan base, and you try to lie to people that are hardcore fans in this city, and they don't take kindly to that. They see through your bullshit real quick.
Here's I love this one. Try to pull Drug Melvin away from Milwaukee, offer him a GM job at his current role in Milwaukee as a senior advisor. He's 68, but
he could be the fucking president of baseball operations. That's the perfect role for him. Here's your promotion. Instead of being the GM and senior advisor like you are in Milwaukee, right? Whatever the hell his role is there, you one up that. Whatever his role is there, you one up it and you make it just a little bit better than what it is there. It's really not that hard to do that if you want to do that. We've just never wanted to do that. To say, as an organization, we don't make those types of commitments.
Brian, got a point.
We don't go for it that way.
Where we drafted, Moana right there at 1.
Well, yeah, I get it.
What, 64?
nobody thinks Pete Alonso's going to become any. Let's be honest. He hit it 64. I get it. I don't know if we had a chance to draft, but the point is, my point I'm trying to make is bringing up Moniak in that situation is a little silly because it wasn't like you were going to take Pete Alonso at 1. Nobody was. So you got to look at the other players that went around him and say, was there one guy that you should have taken at 1 over Moniak that's become anybody? That was really a weak draft at the top when you go back and look at that draft. There wasn't really anybody in that draft that became anything special. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, but yeah, he's right. He should have just stopped at the Phillies can't draft because he's right. Like that's where, yeah, you're right. We can't draft. We never have been able to, and it's since Ed Wade left. The last time we could draft anybody, and me and you talked about this last night, Stephen. The last time we could draft anybody was when Ed Wade was here as a general manager, and we owe the dude a World Series ring for the fact that he put together like 75% of the core that was here when we won an 08 World Series. That's a long time when you think about it. I hate Ed Wade because see, it's amazing. And Ed Wade could draft, but he couldn't do anything else as a general manager. He sucked so much ass at every other aspect of being a general manager. It didn't matter how well he could draft. Then we get a guy like Ruben that could go for the home run and was willing to go for the kill any chance he got, and you had to admire it, except it blew up in his face. And we didn't have anything to show for in the minor league system after all of that. So it was hard to rebuild. And then we get a guy in Klentack who were like, hey, this looks like somebody with potential to at least give us a good farm system at the very least, right? And he can't draft. He can't draft, and he can't do anything else as a general manager. I don't know how he's kept the job this long.
Justin wants to know why Alec isn't playing.
Doubleheader last night. He played both games of a doubleheader, so you probably give a guy a day off. But yeah, I actually agree with that though, Matthew. Ruben, I actually thought about that recently too. When you compare Ruben to Klentak, he does look like a god. So that's how bad Klentak is. Ruben looks, as much as we hated Ruben, he looks so fucking awesome compared to what Klentak is giving us at the moment.
What's up, Greg? Yeah, we absolutely have to fire Klentak.
Joseph, of course we need better scouts.
Imagine the Marlins real market. They had drafted players like Miras, Burnett, Remuto, etc.
It's unreal how some of these teams, the Indians are one of those organizations that have been able to draft talent forever. The Marlins have done it forever. The Braves have seemed to be able to do it for a long time. They had a little bit of a slow spurt there, but they're back to producing all types of talent, at their minor league level. Organizations in baseball that seem to be able to do that constantly, and we haven't been able to do that ever. Like, it's not like we even had like a little spurt where we could, we're talking about what, like 7 years there, 6 years? I don't know if that's a long enough time to even consider that a spurt. We drafted Pat Burrell and then like Cole Hamels in that run.
Playoffs. Me and you were talking about this off air last night. I think we're at like a 64% chance as we sit right now of making the playoffs. But the real question is can our bats overperform?
Yeah, our bats would have to carry us.
And make up for the bad pitching.
Right now, I've 180 from where I was last week because we've got 18 games to go or something like that. Bryce Harper's looking red hot again. When he goes into one of those hot stretches, they usually last a couple weeks. It's 2 to 3 weeks at a time with him. If he can be red hot from now until the end of the season in the middle of that lineup, yeah, we have a great chance to make the playoffs because you're seeing the damage he can do. The rest of that lineup, our lineup has been complete. Like, I think our lineup is like. I've been more than pleased with the run production that we've gotten out of our lineup. Like, I can't complain about that at all. And I thought that might be something I was a little worried about. I expected a few different guys to produce, but I think overall it was like I didn't know what the lineup would be top to bottom. I'm pleasantly surprised with how well the lineup produced all year. But this is almost borderline. Like insanity that the pitching staff is been this bad to where we're now 2 weeks to go in the season. And I think I saw the stat where it's like it would be the second worst bullpen ERA in baseball history, only behind another Phillies team from like 100 years ago or something, of course. Why couldn't it be? Yeah, we have like 9 of like the worst.
I think it was like a plus a 7 ERA or something like that.
Yeah, the ERA was over 7 from our bullpen. Yeah, it's just ridiculousness. Yeah, that's not just bad. Like, a 5 ERA is bad. A 5, you're like, ooh, that's bad ERA. Like, ERA over 5 is bad. We're talking about an ERA over 7? Like, it's almost insane. Like, I can't grasp it.
Like, really all we have is Nola. Arrieta goes down. There's another hole in that pitching rotation again. Wheeler, Eflin, and Velasquez. Can we really depend on these guys to go down the stretch?
No, hopefully Spencer Howard's back in the conversation here pretty damn soon. We need him to really come up big down the stretch.
Would you prefer the Phillies finish second in the wild card spot? Personally, he would just like to see us avoid the Padres. Sorry. And I agree. I would want to avoid the Padres right now, too.
I want to see the Padres. Fuck that. Like, that's a good series. I want to give me. Like, let me fucking do it. Yeah, but I want to have the best record possible by the end of the year.
Not in that wild card spot.
I don't care. Listen, I want.
We divisionals. We start talking about that. Yeah, let's have that conversation. But
if you're asking me right now, what do I want? If we've got 18 games remaining, whatever the fuck the number is, I knew it earlier and then I forgot it. I think it's 18 or something like that. Somewhere close to 20, but I want us to win, as many of them as possible. We can go 16-2 in that stretch, and whatever the hell happens after we go 16-2, I don't care if that means we win the National League East, the first wild card, the second wild card, what happens? I just want to have the best finish down the stretch that we could possibly have because I think that's important. I think no matter what sport it is, it don't matter how bad you suck. Like having a good end to your season, having a good stretch run to your season is important. Like Like you want to finish strong. So. I'd rather have as good of a finish as possible, even if that means we have to play the Padres or something.
Yeah, but how do you see a good finish? There's literally nothing but you're laughing at that too, right?
Yeah.
We don't really have anything besides Nola. Come on.
But I'm with you. So we already agree that the offense is going to have to carry this team, and maybe they will. It wouldn't be the first time we've watched an offense carry a baseball team in Philadelphia to the playoffs. That was how we initially went on that little run. 13 years ago, whatever it is now, seems like so long ago. 07, that team was all offense. Cole Hamels was really the only solid, guy you could say, yeah, he's a really, really good pitcher on that team. Bullpen was probably a little better, but it wasn't until 08, 09, where we really started seeing, ourselves add more and more guys, we added Blanton and Jamie Moyer, guys like that. It really helped. Moyer was there in 07. He came in and said, I guess. I see what you're saying. Like we had more guys even then than we do now. Nola's the only guy you can count on. Wheeler you could count on Wheeler. 9 games left. Okay. So I'm way off.
You didn't call that, brother.
I told you I knew the number earlier. Then I was drinking, and we were smoking some funny stuff, and then we were smoking some funny stuff, and then funny things happen. And what are you gonna do? Yeah. Okay. So we got 9 games left. See, I was all confused. We played a lot of doubleheaders in the past few days, so give me a goddamn break here. 9 games left. So we need to go 8-1, 7-2. That's why I want to see that type of finish. You know what I mean? I don't want to see us, do what have an average finish so that way we avoid the Padres. Just let me finish the best we possibly can.
You worried about Zagor's arm?
It is what it is. What are you gonna do?
I mean, at this point, like I said, if this team doesn't make the playoffs, Matt Klentak cannot move forward, regardless if they make it or not. That he cannot move forward.
Yeah, well, that's why I said I'm cool with us making the playoffs
for this bullpen. He absolutely has to be held accountable for it.
Well, yeah, he's held accountable for everything with this team. That's how being a GM of the team works.
Because last year we all hammered Gabe Kapler a whole lot, putting a lot of it on him. But looking at it now, you can't really.
He mismanaged because he mismanaged the hell out of it.
But I really don't feel like this is on him. I think this is something you got to go up top. That the guy who's pulling the strings up there needs to go.
Well. He mismanaged it though. He didn't have a lot of things to work with, but you still can't mismanage a bullpen and not. Oh, I didn't realize I didn't have a guy warming up. Shit like that can't happen. I don't care. It doesn't matter if it's me or you out there. You can't mismanage it and then blame. Oh, well, he stinks anyway. No, you still fucked up the whole situation. It's not his fault. Yeah, we know he stinks. You still fucked it up. It's not okay. It's all on Klentack here. 100% on Klentak. But if I thought making the playoffs would save his job, then I would agree, and I'd root for the worst possible finish anyway. Let's just lose out. But I don't think making the playoffs saves his job. I think Middleton fires him one way or another.
He can't continue to stay here moving forward. But
and for the record, I want a big name. I don't want to just hire any Joe Schmo again. We can't hire another Matt Klentak and be he excites me. I think he's got potential.
I already seen Prism ask what's your short list for possible general managers?
Brian Cashman. He goes to the top of it, and then we'll we'll build a list from there. He goes to the top of it. Look, the Yankees are in danger. Like the Yankees are going to lose that division right now to the Rays. It looks like, you know what I mean. And they don't take kindly to spending all that money and then losing to a team with like a quarter of their payroll. Like shit like that is not, there's a lot, from what I've read, there's a lot of hostility there. I would, that's how Girardi got fired from there. They just decided it was time for a change, right? It wasn't necessarily he got fired. It just, it's time for us to move on. If there's any chance at all that Brian Cashman is leaving New York, like, I'm like, dude, like, you're driving to the airport to get the guy, please. Like, seriously, drive to New York City and pick him up. We don't even need to fly him here.
Yeah, we got another one. What up, fam? I want Klentak and McPhail going as much as anyone. However, Middleton won't fire him with shortened season and have a better chance.
I disagree. I think he was already on a short leash. I mean,
I think he should be on. I don't think that the shortened season should save him whatsoever. I think all it is you're really kind of seeing the deficiencies that were already there.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, let's just use logic to it. So Middleton makes the decision to fire Kapler last offseason, when clearly Klentak didn't want to do it. That already tells me, okay, hey, I just fired your boy. You're now next, like if something, doesn't improve here. So to me, the shortened season, none of that mattered. I think the mission or the statement was already made when he fired Kapler last offseason that, hey, I'm not, the next person that goes, we know who it is. Now the crosshairs are on you. So I think it was make or break this year.
Something that the stoppage would save Brett Brown, and it didn't. So
because you finally made the decision that, listen, like, we need somebody that's going to, like, we've already been here. We've been here. We need somebody to take us here. And if we're already been here, it doesn't matter how good here is, you eventually need to take that next step.
I mean, I'll say one thing, we'll have to definitely see something about Gregorius, because he's definitely, been one of the guys who's been a welcomed addition from the offseason. Another
guy with Yankee roots and all that. I mean, look how much, when you really think about it, the Cashman thing makes so much sense if he becomes available in any way. It really does. And really, when you think about it in baseball, guys are always available because, you could make Cashman any role you wanted that's a promotion from his current role with the Yankees, and literally put him in charge of everything. Like, give him co-ownership if you're John Middleton. You can literally give him, like, here's like a 2% ownership stake just to get him to come here and leave New York. Like, there's things you can do in baseball like that.
Yeah, I like I said, I would like to see Didi back either way. Regardless.
I absolutely think Didi gets re-signed. Sure. Listen, we could talk about the luxury tax threshold. I think Middleton was cool with going past the luxury tax. Like, I don't think this is a Middleton thing. I think this was a Matt Klentack thing, deciding, I'm cool with the arms we have, and we're not going to go sign anybody because, he wants to be smart with the way, he invests the money or whatever. Whatever. I think that's a Matt Klentack thing more than it's a Middleton thing. It's
Prism got one. Has Didi did enough for you if we want to bring him back at the money he's going to make? Feels like a lot of funds could be used to arms, sign a cheaper young option.
Yeah, that's true. But you're just assuming that nothing's going to change this. Also, I mean, you can trade a Scott Kingery or somebody like that in a trade package with a couple different guys to try to bring in a couple bullpen arms, and then there's money to now re-sign Didi. Here's the thing about a solid bullpen in baseball: it doesn't really cost that much money to put together a solid bullpen in baseball. It really doesn't. It's about bringing in the right arms and actually, those guys, being the right guys and pitching effectively. We don't have any of that. It's not like you need a bunch of money to bring in an effective bullpen. That's not what it is. That's not what's holding Klentack back, or that's not what held Klentack back from putting together an effective bullpen. He just sucked at it. I mean, it was unacceptable and inexcusable for him to not add anybody worth a damn, that can clearly get somebody out at a clip where we don't have the second worst bullpen ERA in baseball history.
Yeah. This one last one, and I guess we'll start moving on to the next topic. There, they got to rebuild the pitching rotation and start hitting draft picks along with Klentack hopefully getting fired. The entire scout minor league talent system needs a refresher. Yeah, Absolutely. We have to do something with this rotation with either some of these arms that you have in the farm have to start progressing, moving forward, developing, etc., or you have to go and find other means to do it if you expect to make a push in this division. When we boil it down, you still got tough arms in New York. You still got tough arms in Washington that we have to deal with and have to take note of. And when you only have one guy on your staff who's your ace, and you don't really, and you basically have a bunch of guys that give you 5 innings sometimes. I mean, it's rough. It's really rough. So,
what happened to Joe Savory? Jesus.
Who?
Joe Savory. You remember Joe Savory?
Who?
He was a Rice University product. He was a pitcher and a first baseman in college. We drafted him as a pitcher. He sucked so bad. I think we drafted him as a hitter or something like that, and he sucked so bad we turned him back into a pitcher. Like, it was something crazy. He made his debut at like 28 in our bullpen or something. I don't know. He stunk. One of many busts during that time. It was just awful. Listen, and this JT Realmuto thing's driving me nuts too, because you can't trade what you gave up for the guy and then not find a way to re-sign him. That whole deal was based, around the concept that you were signing him long term. The only way he leaves this city is if you find a way to sign him and then trade him. And I know a lot of people might get on me here, but if you were really worried about adding bullpen and adding arms in general, not just bullpen arms, starting rotation arms, quality arms to this rotation, you got to look at what you have. Okay, what are your assets that you can get rid of here that you're willing to part ways with, and maybe you can afford to while still getting better. He might be one of the guys you could do that with. Letting him walk in free agency doesn't do anything for me. Oh, I know you get a draft pick out of it, and we suck at drafting, so why the hell do I care? I'd rather sign the guy and then find a way to trade him and get 2 starting pitchers, a bullpen guy, and a backup catcher. Like something like that, which I think you do. You can definitely fleece teams in baseball with trades in that way. Add Scott Kingery into the deal and see what the hell happens all of a sudden, because maybe there's teams that still like a young prospect like Kingery and think he's got upside or whatever, but he clearly needs a change of scenery from here, because I don't think it's going to work out here. It is what it is. Hoskins looks like he's at least a decent player again. He doesn't stink anymore, right? It's really impressive. A lot of credit. One of the good things that's come out of this year, I think we really got to give a lot of credit to Joe Dillon and this whole the coaching staff, especially the hitting the hitting instructors. They really worked hard with Hoskins to get out of what he was taught to do in the previous regime and what they changed. And they got him back to what he did initially when he came up. And, we were like, this isn't going to work. He still looks terrible. And, he's finally starting to look like a guy that, oh, wow, this is that guy that we saw when he first came up that, can drive the ball to all fields at the big league level. And, looks like he can be a productive player, in the middle of your lineup somewhere. Him, Harper, if we, Segura's back, you can re-sign Didi. All of a sudden, that's not looking too bad with McCutcheon still there and Hazley and guys like that. You can think, oh, maybe we can trade Realmuto and Kingery and get 3 or 4 pitchers out of it, and now we improve that area of the club, which was by far our biggest weakness. And I know it's going to suck to give up JT in it, but maybe that's worth it. What's not worth it is just letting him walk in free agency, though. Which right now I'm scared is going to happen, because I do not see Klentack. I think a lot of people see Klentack maybe as like just kind of sitting there, like everybody knows he's going to lose his job.
Yeah.
And it's hard to sign an extension with a team where this guy's going to lose his job. Yeah. So, it scares me that maybe we might lose him in that way.
Yeah, Prism. He has a sneaky suspicion some team is just basically going to throw the barn at JT money-wise and try to make the Phillies think twice about matching.
Well, that's why you can't let him get the free agency. That's where Middleton's got to try to step in at some point before that happens and sign an extension, and then say, okay, even if we've made the decision we're going to part ways with you, we're going to decide what we get back in return, and we're not just going to get some shitty draft pick. Because if he hits free agency, we've got no chance. There's no chance. None. Like the Mets will give him – the Mets, I'm telling you right now, if he hits free agency, the Mets are signing him. Thank you. Yeah, Brian Joseph talking right there. Because they're going to want to make a splash. The new owner worth $12 billion, best catcher in baseball. They've got a huge hole there. They're going to overpay him just to bring him to New York. So there's no chance of us re-signing him if he hits free agency.
Yeah. But let's switch gears from baseball to let's start talking about some playoffs. Some hockey playoffs is now in the Stanley Cups. The NBA playoffs is getting to the Eastern and Western Conference finals, respectively. So, hockey's down to the last two. It's the last dance.
That's a fun matchup, man. Lightning Stars. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, dude. Dallas goalie is on fire. They got getting production from the rookies. I think they got two guys with game winning goals. In different series coming into this. So, like, they're getting production from good guys. And, we talk about it. It's all about the goalie, man. And we'll see how it goes. The Tampa Bay Lightning, we already, we know all too well. They're a very good team. They're
loaded.
But
and it's rabid. It's rabid down here where I'm at. I mean, like everybody I know is a Lightning fan. People are fired up. They're ready to go. Stanley Cup parties everywhere. I might just go, like, I don't even know people, but I might just hey, I'm here for the party, like, and just invite myself.
We're a fan of all sports. It doesn't matter, man. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if our team's out of it. We can still enjoy the other team's championships, even though it's not ours.
Is it not like super 2020? Like, think about how weird it is. Like, with how like weird 2020 has been, it's almost like a sign from the universe. You've got the Lightning and the Stars matching up in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, it's just like this is just a sign. Like, it's totally 2020. It's what a perfect Stanley Cup matchup.
Well, what are you thinking in this one? We have Joseph's in there. He says the Lightning in 5.
Yeah, I mean, the Lightning. I think the Lightning are heavily favored, and I think. It'd be one thing. Dallas is playing hot, but it's not like Tampa's playing bad. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa sweeps it. But yeah, the Lightning in 5 is a good pick. I don't think it gets to 6 games. I really don't.
I don't know, man.
To be different, I'll say that they sweep them. I'll say it's a Lightning sweep.
I don't see a sweep. I could even see Dallas pulling off an upset and knocking them off. They have a team that could do it. They have that momentum. I think they could do it. But, I mean, man, it's really tough to kind of pick against Tampa Bay. But, I mean, I don't see – I don't see 5. I definitely see more of a 6, maybe even 7. It can go either way.
You see it going 6 or 7?
I see this is going to be a fight, man. I think this is going to be a fight.
Yeah. Okay. I see Tampa, and I see that lineup, and I see top to bottom. If Stamkos is back, has there been any word if Stamkos is going to come back at all? I know that he was questionable.
I haven't heard a thing. Maybe we can defer to our listeners tuning in. Maybe they might know, but I haven't heard anything.
I think they've got way too much talent all over the ice. I don't think Dallas matches up with them. Like,
yeah, but like I said,
Tampa's been in this position so many times.
Been able to find ways to win, and no one even sitting there. I don't think anyone had predicted that they were going to make it this far, let alone the Cup Finals. So, like, it's one of these things where, yeah, I mean that's true, but we got to see how it plays out. I don't see it being a quick series. I know you say sweep, he says 5. I don't see it that way. I see maybe a little bit longer or going the other way. Like Dallas is. I think a lot of people are devaluing what they've done so far and what type of hockey they're playing right now. So we'll see how it all plays out. The Lightning are favored. And they have a pedigree there for a reason. So I guess we'll see once the pucks drop and see who's hitting the twine a little bit more, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been 15 years since the Lightning won the Stanley Cup the first time, so almost. I think it might have been 05. There's 04, 05, or 03, 04. One of them might be 16 years, but still, I mean,
there we got Prism again.
Points banged up. Tampa Bay's exhausted. Stamkos is out. I disagree with Tampa Bay being exhausted. Tampa Bay being exhausted. Tampa Bay fucking dropped 8 goals on the island. I mean, like this. I don't. the Tampa Bay exhausted point to me is silly. That's, I don't know. Yeah, like I'm with Joseph there. Tampa drops, like they look plenty fine to me. I don't see an exhausted hockey team when I watch them. I know he's talking about all the overtime games and shit like that. I think those games are just the types of games where like you come out on the winning ends of those games and it makes you feel as a hockey team like, hey, we're even that much more invincible. You know what I mean? And it's any team. You win extra inning baseball games, close overtime, or last minute football games. Yeah, it just makes you feel even that much more invincible as a team. When you feel like, yeah, like nobody can beat us. We got this. You ain't getting exhausted now. I'll tell you, I got to say, that's one of my things, is like, I look at like championship games and shit. Like that's the biggest game of your life. Like this is the biggest series of your life. Like guys are playing through injuries and everything. They're doing everything they can to play in this series. Like exhausted, you don't even know the word exhausted at this point in the season. You know what I mean? You're just playing hockey. You're out there. It's just you're not focused on anything but winning. At that point, like look how much of a dogfight they've been through. Like it's the playoffs. Everybody's going through dogfights. Every single playoff game's a dogfight. That's the way it is. Dallas has got momentum. Like I said, Tampa's got momentum too. I mean, they've both been playing good hockey. I think that's the one thing to look at it should be a good series because both teams have been playing great hockey.
Well, that's why
that continues.
Like I think either way, like if it goes either way, I think it's going to be more than 5 games.
Okay, I mean, and listen, for like people that like good hockey, it's for them, the longer the series goes, the better. The more hockey they get to watch, and obviously, you want to watch as many hockey games. There's some people who are like, they want it to go 7 games just because they want to watch 7 hockey games. Yeah, if it goes 5 games, that means hockey's done now until it starts again. They don't get that's 2 extra games they're going to get to watch. So, I don't know, I'm with you. I was told, my buddy told me, we were talking about when we hang out on Fridays. I was like, well, like Friday will be game 4. Next Friday will be game 4. They could clinch it and like sweep it, if on that day, if they're already up 3-0, he says he doesn't want it to be a clinching game because he wants to record the game that day instead of watching it live on the back porch as we party, and therefore it just we can't be having it as a clinching game. So I guess he would agree. He wants to go at least 5, Stephen.
so I got your family there in your backyard. They're kind of agreeing with me there. So I'll take it.
Well, yeah, all the Lightning fans here, I don't think they care how the Lightning win it. They just they don't give a fuck how it happens as long as the Lightning win. Now, if the Lightning find a way to lose this series, I might have to stay in my house for a few days. Like it might not be. It's going to get ugly around here, dude. I'm going to take live videos and send them to you. It's not going to be pretty.
I mean, at this point in time, it's really going to be down to which goaltender winds up playing the best at the end of the day, in my opinion. We'll see what Tampa and Dallas offense brings to the table, but I think it's going to be like it always is in the Stanley Cup. It's about the goalie.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably be watching as much as I can. I love Stanley Cup. Like I watch, it's the only time I'll watch hockey is like the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I've been paying attention the whole playoffs. We were watching the Lightning series all down here. It's hard to miss it. Everybody's so crazy. It's great. People were like, I can't sit in my apartment. Like, even if I'm not watching the game, I know what's going on in the game because I can hear people in the apartments around me either cheering or booing or cursing or whatever the deal is. So it's like, oh, okay, the Lightning just scored. I seem to have an idea of what's going on, no matter if I'm watching or not.
Well, they're going to be dropping the puck at some point in time this week. So let's see what
tomorrow
happens.
Night, isn't it?
Huh?
Tomorrow night, isn't it?
Is it tomorrow night? Well, it's a new week, right?
Well, yeah, it is. We gotta look and figure this out here. We gotta figure out when the day is, Stephen. When does it start? The people need to know.
It's the battle of the 2 high-scoring teams. Lasky.
No, it starts tonight. It starts tonight at 7:30. How are we misleading the people here, Stephen? 18 games to go in the baseball season, and the Stanley Cup finals start tomorrow.
Hey, remember, I'm the one that had the flubs last week. It's your turn now.
Yes. We're not making each other look good here. We're supposed to be a bearded brotherhood or whatever the hell. Whatever the bearded brothers. Or bearded brotherhood actually sounds better. I like that. It's the bearded brotherhood, and then we can invite anybody else from A2D with the beard.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Does Cincinnati still have a great beard like Metal Matt? He has that great beard, right? Speaking of hockey. from the hockey happy hour. He still has his beard, doesn't he? Or did he shave that and just has the hair?
Ralphie still has his beard too, so
Ralphie has the BC. Okay, so we've got a lot of people that are part of the bearded brotherhood here. It's an A2D bearded brotherhood.
But let's switch gears from hockey to basketball. Here we go.
To basketball.
Now we have what we got left. We got the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we have
Heat are up 2-0.
And the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference Final. Not quite what everyone thought. We all thought we were going to get that LA Western Conference Final. It didn't quite happen the way the basketball gods saw it.
I know I'm not the only one that wants to see the Nuggets win, though.
Is this basically all completely on LeBron now? If he doesn't get this done and get this championship, are you still going to have these people who are feeling that he's not in greatness?
I think it's going to be hilarious when he goes to the finals and loses to his former team, the Miami Heat. There's going to be so much irony in it. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. I'm probably going to laugh my balls off, to be honest. And it's just going to be another notch in the belt of why Michael is just that much better than LeBron.
Wow. Zach is coming at our board Ralphie's throat here, saying that LeBron is going to choke to Jimmy Butler.
Ralphie's a fraud, and Ralphie knows. I called him. He was on the rundown with me for a long time. He knows. Like, I think the fact that he's a Lakers fan is just ridiculous. Like, you don't have to be a Sixers fan per se, but like you just being a Lakers fan is being a front runner. Like his earliest Lakers memory involves a championship and Kobe Bryant and Shaq. Like all he remembers is good. Like that. He's what we despise here in Philadelphia. So Ralphie needs to shh. But I love Ralphie. He's awesome. He's a part of the bearded brotherhood. Brotherly love. We get to make fun of our own. No, I mean. Listen, LeBron realistically, yeah, Anthony Davis and him. That's as a duo. They should be able to go win the NBA championship. But I just like what Miami's doing so much right now. They've got a killer in Jimmy Butler. He's got that competitive fire that championship teams need to make everybody else around him, elevate. He's elevating everybody around him by having the competitive fire that he does. You know what I mean? His will to win is bringing out everybody else's will to win. And teams like that are dangerous. And they've already got a lot of talent. I don't care if Bam can guard Anthony Davis or not. It doesn't really matter to me because Jimmy Butler has shut down LeBron. How about that? You want a hot take? Hot take. Jimmy Butler will shut down LeBron. He'll take his lunch money all series long.
Joseph Paul, everyone's saying Cowboy, Yankee, Red Wing, Lakers fan here. Just kidding.
I'm about to say, why is that just good Lord? Oh, man. No, I mean, listen, I think the Heat have the championship mojo. I think they've got everything a championship team needs. They're well coached. They've got tons of talent. They've got a little bit of everything. They've got some shooters on the perimeter. They've got some good big man play. They've got a killer. Who's more of a killer? Who's more of a killer? LeBron or Jimmy Butler?
I'm trying to let you convince. Listen, I love Jimmy Butler. I would love for him to freaking win an NBA title and stick it in the Sixers front office's face. I would absolutely die.
He knew what he was doing. He saw a winning organization.
However, you have to convince me that he is going to shut down LeBron and Anthony Davis and stop the Lakers. I can't.
Lance Stevenson was able to shut down LeBron. Like if Lance Stevenson and Patrick Beverley and guys like that can shut down LeBron, like Jimmy Butler is like guys like him are perfect. They play tough defense. LeBron hates that shit. He hates that. You get all up in his grill and you play really tough defense. He gets irritated. Lance Stevenson used to blow in his ear. Remember, it used to drive him crazy. He sat himself down on the bench. It's like the shit like that. Like Jimmy Butler will shut him down. And then LeBron will bitch and whine all series long about how he's getting fouled and how Jimmy Butler's fouling him and yada, yada, yada. We've seen this whole thing before. I know how it's going to play out. By the way, LeBron really needs to do something about that bald spot. Like, just shave your head at this point. I can't root for anybody that dude, like how can you even like go out in public with I can't cheer for you, dude. Like that's ridiculous. Like care about yourself a little bit more than that. Just saying.
Brian Jones with it. He said he had the Bucks and Clippers were the two teams he thought could stop the Lakers. He sees the Lakers taking it.
I'm just, am I like just coming off like a complete jackass all of a sudden, Stephen? Is that almost?
Well, I don't think it's I think you're stating your educated opinion on how you feel from your view in the sports world, brother.
My educated opinion.
It's your educated opinion, right?
Yeah, it's educated already.
Is it uneducated, or did I miss something?
No, I mean it's educated. I mean, I don't, but I don't have like some Stanford education or anything, so it's more like a community college education.
What's up with the LeBron haters? Jeez, why can't we appreciate greatness?
Who said? When did I not say he was great?
Listen.
I didn't say he wasn't great.
Listen, I think I seen this in a post the other day. I guess somebody was getting mad at the fact that it was like ESPN had one of their app posts and was targeted basically around LeBron. Listen, we have to realize this is in the world we live in. All right, if we go back and media is the way it is now, could you imagine how it was when Michael was around? So we appreciate his greatness too, but it's just it's so down everyone's throat right now to a point where I think it's kind of wearing on people, and they're waiting for him to kind of finish the exit so we can kind of move on from the LeBron era. Regardless if you're pro LeBron or anti-LeBron, you have to want to see how the rest of these last handful of years play out to see how his legacy plays out, regardless if you're pro or con. I really don't feel us personally have so much this hate against LeBron. I just think the way it plays out, I think that Zach has a valid point that the way Jimmy Butler's playing, the way the Miami Heat are playing, they now do possess the tools to challenge them in the finals and could potentially upset a Lakers LeBron team. I don't think it's that far-fetched, and I don't think it's hate either.
My thing with LeBron is I love when people do that. I've never not once said LeBron isn't a great player. Is he the best player in basketball? Yeah, he's the best player in basketball. You'll never hear me not say that. He's a rock star, so it doesn't bother me that he's everywhere and all the attention and getting that's what rock stars do. He's marketable. He's the biggest money maker in probably all of pro sports, not just basketball, all of pro sports.
Right here.
That type of stuff doesn't bother me because he's a rock star. You're going to try to promote your rock stars, the best way you can and make the money off of them.
Just one for you: Mark Jackson, Tyronn Lue, Jason Kidd, Mike D'Antoni, Billy Donovan. Who's the next Sixers coach?
D'Antoni.
It's probably going to be D'Antoni. I mean,
not that I want it to be D'Antoni. You asked who was going to be, not who I wanted.
But out of that group, from what we're hearing, from what the rumblings are, it's probably going to be D'Antoni, and it is what it is.
The LeBron thing for me, outside of all that, there are some little things about him that is really, really fun for you to look at and laugh. When he flops and you're dude, really, you barely got clipped with an elbow and barely touched your forehead and you fall to the ground.
People take it too far. Today, there was some Instagram thing his kid was smoking weed. LeBron's gonna have to leave the bubble. I'm why is it a big deal? Because what his kid's doing. This is what we mean, how media has blown thing up and anything that happens to do with it, it has to be all in our face.
I think people do that with Tom Brady too. I mean, look, how many memes came out this week on Facebook with him in the wig, calling him Karen, and then what real life Karen looks like, and then all the you guys don't cheat here. What do you mean? Those types of memes because he's a rock star. When you're a rock star, this is what people do. You're everywhere. But, just like Brady, it's fun. For Brady, even though I love Tom Brady, because people, why can't people appreciate greatness? I do. But it's also fun to hate on Tom Brady because he signed a contract with Uggs how many years ago, and he gets to walk around wearing Uggs products because they pay him how much, God, who knows how much money, to do it. But, is it not fun to, make fun of him as a man for wearing, Uggs boots and stuff around town? Sure it is. Dude, you play quarterback in the NFL and you're caught walking around New York City in Uggs boots. It's kind of funny. Just saying. It's easy to hate on that. LeBron's got a big bald spot and nobody. The funniest thing to me is it's people don't even like. People just try to act like it's not there. Like nobody asks them about it. Nobody acknowledges it in interviews. Like people are just like, oh, like let's not talk about LeBron's bald spot. Like it's so like it's almost humorous how bad it is. Like you would think people around him would be like, dude, just shave it. Like what is wrong with you? You saw earlier this year that people thought he was guilty of putting like the fake hair plugs in and shit because Anthony Davis went and rubbed his head the one day in the one game and you could see his hair kind of come out in the process and like it was like, oh, like what's going on? What has LeBron got like a hairpiece or something? I don't know if he does or not, but like if he does, like it doesn't matter how great of a player he is. I'm hating on the guy for wearing a hairpiece. Let's be honest.
Are you done with it with the LeBron thing?
Do I have to be? I mean, it's fun. I could go a lot longer. He used to get clowned for his hairline all the time. His hairline's worse now than it ever was. How did he used to get clowned and he does it now? That's I don't understand. The wind blows the wrong way and LeBron falls over and acts like somebody fouled him. You're like 280 pounds and like the air conditioning blew the wrong way and you like fell over. See, somebody ran past you, and he like flops. Like, yeah, those things are funny. I'm sorry. Those things I find hilarious. I don't root for LeBron because of those reasons. I don't hate on the fact that he wins and that he's great, but I don't root for guys like that make me laugh. I'm kind of rooting for you to lose because I want to see what happens. Like I enjoy LeBron getting pissed off, like when he loses and things like that. Like that's what entertains me.
Oh, I'm now trying to break up the bearded brotherhood. Zach, shave your beard and put it on top of your head.
No, I'm going to shave it and give it to LeBron so he can put it on top of his head. He's the one that needs it.
Are we done with the hairline?
Sure, we can be done.
All right.
I'm just trying to have fun, Steven. You're not joining in this week. I'm very disappointed in you.
Hey, listen, I'm having fun with it too, but
I was hoping you were going to join in with. You had some punchlines ready to go of your own, and you're.
I think my hairline is just as bad, man. It's like back here, the back. I have the landing pad back here, just like him. I feel for LeBron. I can't make fun of him. Mine is just as bad.
His is worse. His is way worse. Sixers should send Al Horford in a first-round pick to Kings for Buddy Hield. Yeah, I saw that. I have no idea why the Kings would fucking do that. Why would the Kings – I mean, Al Horford in a first-round pick for Buddy Hield. I still think the Kings say no. Like, why would you want Al Horford's contract? And that first-round pick is going to be like the 25th pick in the draft. Like, why would – I mean –
I use that pick with one of the Rones and flip it with another guy and –
Yeah, I don't know how you make that deal happen. If there's a way to make it happen, sure, because what Buddy Hield can do is he can shoot the ball from the perimeter, and that fits in very well with a need on this team. We need perimeter shooters, and we need to get rid of Al Horford's contract. Now, I have this weird theory. I talked with somebody last night that is a huge basketball person, and we were going back and forth on this. Is it possible? We've heard all the Chris Paul rumors. We've heard the Mike D'Antoni thing. Mike D'Antoni coached Chris Paul for a couple of years in Houston. The idea of bringing D'Antoni here maybe could intrigue Chris Paul and bring him in a trade, and he likes that whole idea. On top of that, when you look at everything else involved with this deal, if you can get out of Al Horford's contract and bring in a guy like a Buddy Hield, you might be able to now use Hield as part of your firepower in a trade for a guy like Chris Paul. And maybe that's all part of the big picture. If you're really serious in pursuing Chris Paul, maybe Buddy Hield is just part of your, process of trying to go pursue him. So Joseph seems to think, he seems to be following at least where I'm going with this. I'm not saying there's any type of connection here, but let's connect the dots a little bit. If the D'Antoni thing happens, you can use that as a lot of leverage with Chris Paul for why he should come play here. It's a coach he's played with before and he at least has respect for. And then on top of that, you doubt the Thunder are going to take Al Horford and his contract or something like that. There's probably going to have to be something else done creatively, in order to make a trade happen with the Thunder to get Chris Paul. Maybe that's where Buddy Hield comes into all this. Maybe getting out of the Horford contract and getting Buddy Hield helps you, in your ability to go get Paul. But the first round pick thing doesn't make sense to me because I think you're going to need that for Paul as well. It'd be like Buddy Hield, a first round pick, somebody else in there, maybe a couple other players. There's got to be something. Maybe, unfortunately, a Matisse Thybulle or somebody like that is much as I like the kid defensively and all that. He's somebody that's got value because of that. you might be able to, he might be a guy you have to part ways with in that trade. But I'm all in. Well, Elton Brand, are we even talking about is if he's going to have a job here at the end of all this? I mean, I'm hoping that part of this whole process is whoever they hire, part of that whole process is Elton Brand's no longer a part of this. And we've moved on from that. But I'm all in on Chris Paul. I think bringing Chris Paul here is I think it's the best idea that the basketball organization in Philadelphia has had in 20 years.
Listen, Joseph gets the fucking comment of the fucking day for that one right there.
Well, yeah, Elton Brand's dumbass. Yeah, he wouldn't do that. But is Elton Brand going to be involved in that? Fuck no. Hopefully not.
That's the comment of the day right there.
But yeah, I mean, I probably am giving Elton Brand way too much credit with that. But I'm just saying, you can connect the dots and try to see where I'm going there. If you're an organization, why you would do that?
Man. Well, I mean, hopefully, I think Zach laid out a really good plan. To think hopefully
something like that could happen, right? Klentak, McPhail, Brand, I'll buy the plane ticket. Yeah, sure. We could chip it in 3 ways.
That's wishful thinking right there.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people want Howie Roseman involved in that. He needs to be. It's a 4-way plane ticket. Don't get them all the fuck out of Philadelphia. Just start fresh.
Yeah, but
what a segue, Steven.
Howie ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So
wait, what? What? Wait, hold on now. Okay, what a perfect segue. You got to explain to me. Howie's not. I thought we were in agreement that Howie Roseman was on the hot seat. What happened?
But we all know how Jeffrey Lurie is with some of these guys, and I don't think even if he loses his general manager,
Joseph and me are thinking alike.
He will not be a part of this organization. Let's stop that.
Well, we agreed on that. That maybe he ends up becoming a senior assistant to the owner.
Nowhere. He's part of this organization. We're just gonna have to accept.
I just don't want to make him the football decisions anymore. I don't care if he's sitting next to Jeffrey Lurie in the owner's box. I don't care as long as he's not in charge of football decisions. Give him whatever role you want. He's the senior ambassador to the Philadelphia Eagles, and he sits next to Jeffrey Lurie every damn Sunday because he's his puppet, just like he's always been. And that's fine as long as some other puppet's the one that's making the personnel decisions.
See, now you're misconstruing what I'm saying by that, so I had to re-explain it to you.
Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, again, as long as we're in agreement that Howie's not making football decisions, hey.
We'll relax. We'll get to the Eagles in a second. We still got some MMA news and notes to kind of little discuss.
Oh, of course we do.
Yes, of course we do. We don't have any. We'll get back to that next week.
Speaking of hairlines, by the way, there's mine. I figured you showed yours. We talked about LeBron's. I have to show mine before we move on.
Keep my hat on for now. But I mean, it's definitely one of these things with our hairlines, man. It's rough. As you get older, people cherish it. Don't wear hats as much as I did.
Oh, is that what causes it? Wearing hats?
I mean, that's what I'm told. So, I mean,
oh wow,
whatever. But I think today UFC released former Ultimate Fighter winner John Dodson. We're seeing a lot of guys move and shake between UFC and Bellator lately. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him there. Maybe even ONE FC, considering that's where Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson is. You're seeing a lot of the better lighter weight guys come out of that age over there, man. They just had produced a lot of these lighter weight guys and females that are just out of this world. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him there. I know a lot of people are already calling for Bellator. Just that's kind of the obvious thing, but I wouldn't be surprised to see ONE FC kind of scoop in and kind of grab him.
Okay.
And I mean, what else? Oh, dude, the deal with UFC middleweight champions signed a Israel's Aladanya had signed a big deal with Puma this week. Now we've already seen other brands kind of latch out into some of these stars. He's one of these guys. Basically international superstar at this point in time. Big deal getting Puma involved into MMA there. One of the other bigger news this week was former Bellator lightweight champion now free agent Michael Chandler is now signed to the UFC and slated to take on Tony Ferguson, since the fight with Tony Ferguson and Dustin Poirier fell through because Dustin feels like he deserves a better contract, whatever. Wasn't going to get the fight situated until he got the contract situated as far as compensation goes. UFC goes and swoops in and grabs Michael, former Bellator guy, and that's within the same breath of them basically telling Patricky Pitbull Ferrari that he's basically one of these lesser guys, but then you go and sign a former champion who let his contract, was trying to get this fight in the UFC. And it's kind of a weird situation because, it's kind of a number one contender fight because, we all know Tony Ferguson and Dustin Poirier, one of these guys is basically one or two in that division. Winner will probably wind up being one of these guys who see Khabib next. And you get Michael Chandler jumping right in off of the street, gets a big fight like that. It's it's big, man. For a lot of reasons. Both the side of it that a lot of these fans who don't really notice how good the talent is in Bellator when it kind of transfers over. So, going to be a good fight though. Michael Chandler, world class fighter, top notch wrestling. He's got hands, and Tony Ferguson is Captain Unpredictable, man. He's really good on his hands and feet. Well, I got to see how that plays out.
Captain Unpredictable.
Dude, go watch that man fight. Go watch.
I mean, who gave him this nickname? Was this you?
Well, no, his real
nickname just did. So this is now, like this is spontaneous, right on the spot.
His real nickname is El Kukui, but
So you just gave him this nickname right on the spot. This is like what we're calling him now.
Well, no, I mean that's what I would say. His style is you can't really sit there and say you can't sit there and say he's just a striker. You can't just sit there and say he's just this guy off his back. He has a gas thing. He's durable. He can hurt you with strikes with his hand, his feet. You really don't know what you're going to get when you go in there against Tony Ferguson. He started off his career. I think it was like 11, 12-0. Like he's a well-rounded fighter. He's got a full meal when coming to his plate when Michael Chandler steps in that cage. So I mean, it's going to be a fun fight. I'm really interested to see how that one plays out.
Okay, I'm with you. When do they fight? Tonight?
Tonight. I wish. No, tonight. Tonight is a more interesting one. A way more interesting one. At least from the fans' perspective, there's a beef with Tyrone T. Woodley. And everyone's favorite fighter to hate at this point in time, and Kobe Chaos Covington.
Kobe Chaos Covington.
Yeah, he's a Trump guy. He'll walk around with his Magana hat. Oh my God, he's just. And T Wood, man, he's a black man. He's got big strong hands. He's a big wrestler. He was.
You sound kind of turned on here, Steven.
Come on with all that, bro.
Hey, you said big, strong hands. I was like, hey, what now?
He's got knockout power. He can put you out with his hands. Come on, man. What are you going for? You trying to find out? Go down to the gym. He'll tell you how strong
you are. It's all cool. I was just saying, you sound like.
I'm kind of emphasizing on it because that's what Tyrone needs tonight. He needs the old T Wood back. He really hasn't looked himself as a professional fighter the last few times out. I don't know if it's just matchups, not bad weight cut, not really getting the training you need, dealing with injuries, whatever. These fighters deal with a whole lot. So, and Kobe is one of these guys. It's what he's been kind of picking at him. They both have kind of some beef. They used to train together. Anyone who's been following the situation knows. The fight tonight with Kobe Covington and Tyrone Woodley should be fun. That's
got to be one of the best name combinations though. Kobe Chaos Covington. That's just badass right there.
Yeah, you're gonna go Google him and you're gonna want to strangle this guy, Zach. I promise you. I'm gonna get a phone call like, "Oh my God, Steve, I'm gonna have to freaking kill this guy." Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm going to get all fired up. I want to fight this guy. He's an MMA fighter. He'd fucking kill me.
I just mean like when you go see his character and how he's been kind of really portraying himself as a fighter lately, yeah, you're really not going to dig it.
I might actually find it hilarious.
But
I find that shit amusing.
I mean that's gonna be really it's UFC Fight Night Vegas 11. It should be a fun fight. I'm really looking forward to that one. See how that one goes down. Actually, speaking of which, I'm actually doing a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away a signed photo of Tyron's. Little
nice.
Hit up.
There we go.
Give A2D YouTube subscription and subscribe, screenshot, and give your fight predictions. Whoever wins. Regardless if it's Kobe, whatever, that's how it goes out. That's how it goes out. But anyways, get back to one more last little bit of MMA news before we get into the football talk. Is former UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir signed with bare knuckle boxing.
Frankie Mir. Okay.
Mir Jitsu isn't going to be used too much. Obviously, bare knuckle boxing, so it's interesting to see how that one plays out. I don't, Frank's been one of these guys who's everyone kind of hangs around too long, especially in the MMA world. And I love the guy. I love to watch him compete, but sometimes you have to see what it is. Hopefully, he proves me wrong.
How old is he now?
What, Frank Mir in bare knuckle boxing?
He's got to be close to 40, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm getting there. I'll be there in a few months, so he's definitely got to be there.
You don't look a day over 30.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Thanks, brother. But yeah, I think that's about covers just about everything for this week that I wanted to touch on, at least for MMA. Make sure you tune into UFC Vegas 11, the fight night there, and we got some more stuff. Like I said, we got a guest lined up for next week. We'll see how that get some more actual interviews going on with some of these athletes. But Justice wants to talk about this. Tyson murdering Roy Jones Jr. in the first round.
That fight's not going to happen. Roy Jones Jr. is back in.
No, I don't know if you've seen. Tyson's been working with Rafael Hardera. He's a renowned MMA coach in the MMA world, Muay Thai guy. He actually clipped him in the clip. He's his hands.
I saw that clip. Yeah, where he clipped him on a right hook or something. Yeah, I saw that.
It was. Listen, man. Rafael's used to that. Everyone's like, I wonder if he's all right. Nah, man. I mean,
Mike Tyson's best career win.
First round, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that first round stuff.
I'm excited for the comeback and all that, but Mike Tyson's best career win to date is against Trevor Berbick. Think about that. That's the biggest name he's ever beaten.
I don't know.
Every big name he's ever fought, he's lost to. He needs to do something in this comeback. He needs to beat Roy Jones Jr. That would immediately become the biggest name he's ever beaten.
Yes, Rob. Klentak things. I'm with you, brother.
Yeah, that was old news.
Yeah. That was the beginning of the show, my man. We got you, but we're going to change gears, and Zach already said he's got some venom to unleash. We're going to get into the football talk.
I don't know. I might have been taking it out on LeBron earlier. I think all my anger for the Eagles is it was just directed like lightning rod of hate at LeBron. Man, we went in.
But absolutely, the week one, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Redskins. I mean, literally for the better part of the first half, it was pretty much what we thought we were going to see from this team. 12 personnel was working. You see a lot of good stuff. And over. Even despite the loss, the defense number wise is still. They did well. They did a good job. That just. Too many mistakes up front, and then you don't make any adjustments on them. What we mean you were talking about? Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to kind of do rolls and bootlegs when you're in long yardage situations and stuff like that.
Hard.
But when you still when you still know what your strengths are, and you can still take advantage of that, and regardless if you don't feel secure with that. You can't run the ball, whatever. You can still go and make. Where are you going? Fall in the back now? Wife is coming in.
Yeah, she's interrupting this very important moment in HUD history.
Yes, but I mean, basically, I think a little bit goes on both. I think Wentz held on to a few more balls a little bit too longer than he should have. Made some throwing errors. Got a little bit of happy feet, and The offensive line didn't do him too much help, and we talked about it. We talked how big that defensive front was going to be. The battle was going to be one up front, and it went the other way. I think Brinkman even said it. I think I haven't seen that offensive line be beat up that bad in the trenches in almost 10 years, maybe even longer.
Everything changed. The first 25 minutes of the football game, our offense dominated. Wentz started 14-17, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. We were rolling. Big play to Rager down the field. We're like, this is what we thought it was going to be. This is awesome. Everything changed when our third string offensive lineman came in on the right side of the line. Driscoll went out, and our third string right tackle came in. Then we had a third stringer come in at the right guard position. And it seemed to change a lot. Now, I don't know. There's mixed reviews, I guess, on how people felt like Herbig played and how people felt that Jack Driscoll played. I thought Driscoll looked pretty good for the time he was in there. Then he got hurt. Lane Johnson will be back this week. That'll be huge. But regardless of all of that, the point that you nailed the most is the rollouts, the bootlegs, the game planning. I have no idea what changed. Like, this is so just confusing to me, because I even made a post on Facebook. Our first drive, I've been bitching. I don't know about you. I've been bitching for over 2 years now, maybe 2 full seasons now, about how bad we look in the first couple drives of the game. Like, the first drive, our first drive of the first quarter, the past couple years, last year especially.
That's how you do it, boys.
It was just awful. Right. And then we come out and just bite down the field. Boom. What an impressive drive. And I made a post on where's this been for the past 2 years? That's the best first drive we've had in a football game in 2 years. The one thing I've always loved about Doug Peterson and this coaching staff is the second half adjustments that we make. We might struggle in the first half of football games. Over the past couple years especially, we've done a great job of making second half adjustments. I have no idea what happened at halftime going into the second half of this game, but Doug Peterson got completely outcoached by Ron Rivera in every facet. I mean, whether he was trying to make adjustments and Rivera was one step ahead of him, or from what I saw, it didn't really seem like we were making the adjustments that we needed to make in order to try to counteract what was going on up front, which was the Redskins figured out that we weren't going to run the football because we just didn't have the ability to do it with not only Miles Sanders out, but the line being in the shape it was in. So they pinned their ears back. They're coming after the quarterback. They're sending blitzers at you nonstop every single play because they're not threatened by the run. And a great way to counteract all that would have been the quick screens and these slant passes. And you can use guys like Rager all of a sudden coming out of the backfield on swing passes, or line them up at wide receiver and quick screen passes. And there was none of that. We continued to see 5-step drops, and they're running fucking go routes down the field and shit, and deep posts down the field when you just don't have the protection up front to do it. And then on top of it, Wentz was holding on to the ball too long, trying to constantly look for that big play down the field instead of maybe checking down to something that was there. But that all comes back into making an adjustment. Why are you calling those deep plays down the field time after time after time, knowing what was being done up front with Washington's defense? So it was bad in a lot of areas. Wentz doesn't get an excuse because he had bad ball placement on a lot of throws. I said he was great in the first 25 minutes, 14-17, $182, 2 touchdowns. Couldn't complain about anything we saw in those first 25 minutes. The deep throw to Rager, the touchdown on the first drive, everything looked really pretty. He was not just bad. I mean, he was awful from that point forward.
Yeah, that's fine.
Doug has some pretty suspect post-game comments, something along the lines of, I don't know if we're going to run or pass in game. I just trust our guys to make plays. Yeah, this is part of what I wanted to touch on, Stephen. I want your opinion on this. What do you see with your eyes? I see, and I agree there. I see some really weird stuff going on with it. I'm not in the locker room, so I don't want to sit here and say I know this for a fact. But from what I see, a lot of me stuff going on right now. Just a lot of, we talk about chemistry and things like that. I question whether that chemistry is there right now. Jason Peters asking for more money and demanding things like that. Zach Ertz demanding a new contract and then can't even catch a good, a pass on fourth down to extend a drive. Has 3 catches for 23 yards all game long. I thought it was a little bit weird if you watched the tape. There was times during the game where he was open, and usually Wentz will pull the trigger right away on that situation. That's his safety blanket. and for whatever reason he didn't, and he looked to try to, make a bigger play downfield or something like that. I don't know if there's anything to that or not, but with Ertz demanding a new contract and Goddard the way he got featured in the offense, there just seems to be a lot of things that are just really weird right now. And I really question the chemistry of this football team and where it's actually at the moment. I think we're really good at overcoming all that because we've shown, that's all we've seemed to do over the past 3 years, but that's not a good sign. And I know people want to dismiss all these articles that are out there that are being written about, Doug Peterson and all these things going on with him and the organization. And, I don't know if there's anything to it or not, but I don't need any of those articles to be released for me to watch the game and for me to come back and say there were some weird things I saw during the course of that football game, and then the way guys are reacting, the way guys are talking, the great point about Doug's post-game comments, like there's just some things here that just aren't making sense. They're not adding up. You can't connect the dots here and come to a conclusion of what's going on, and that's scary to me a little bit. I don't know what's going on in the front office, what's going on in the locker room, or anything like that. But Doug Peterson, the front office, the offense, I mean, as much as we were hoping everybody seemed to be in sync and on the same page coming into this season, I just don't see that quite yet. I didn't see the speed that we had being properly utilized and stuff.
I think that's another thing that plays into last week and plays into kind of what you're saying is just no preseason. You don't really get a chance to kind of get this.
Absolutely, that helps with chemistry, sure.
Gets things situated. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of like hot and cold through this first month and we have to see how things hold together, especially when some of the, like I said, some of the comments I think is kind of misleading.
The articles I think are kind of a little silly and ridiculous, but that doesn't mean that there's not some type of some type of hostility or like uncomfortableness there between certain groups, in the front office and stuff like that. But obviously reporters take shit and then run with it and blow things out of proportion. It's considered like Zach Ertz and Howie Roseman get in a yelling match and an argument in the middle of practice during the week. Like those are not things that like good football team. Those are things that like football teams that implode and like, you know what I mean? That's scary to me. Like winning organizations don't have that shit happen. Like that's not a good sign. Those things I think should be concerning to people. And I think people are trying to dismiss everything a little bit too much. Some of it, yeah, dismiss some of it as nonsense. Some of it, I think there could be some substance to some of it.
Well, yeah, I guess we're going to want to find it out here in the next few weeks, seeing how this team performs, seeing how they react to some of these questions, situations, pressures that come along with the NFL season. So, I think you make some valid points there with a lot of the all the ulterior distractions, contracts.
Yeah, I don't want I said some me stuff. Yeah, but you may use the best word, ulterior. Outside distraction or ulterior motives involved. Like I just instead of focusing on coming on and playing great football, there maybe was just too much focus on too many different things. You know what I mean? We got Carson's going to come out and we've got to make sure he's going to have a bounce back year and all this attention about how much of a leader, how much he's grown as a leader. How much have you seen those articles in the couple weeks leading up to the season? How much he's grown as a leader and how much the locker room is his now and how much the football team believes in him and it's all this stuff. Like okay, like great. Like what like he's in year 5. Like I didn't
think we needed to see any more fluff, but I mean, apparently we need to see stuff.
And I love Carson. I don't think I just don't understand why is that the focus? Like why? Okay, great. Like I love that. Awesome. He had guys over to his house to work out with him this offseason. Great stuff. Shows great leadership. Awesome. So let's go out on the football field and focus on how great of a start we're going to have to the year. Pedal to the metal and start fucking blitzing teams and just kicking their ass week in and week out. And instead we've got all this focus on that.
If that was the case, then he should have kept J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in his freaking bathroom.
Well, listen, from what we saw, Arcega-Whiteside was a guy working out there with him this offseason. What I want to know is why Arcega-Whiteside's only on the field for 25% of the snaps. This guy, 25% of the snaps. What happened to the guy that was apparently, he looks like the guy we drafted, and he looks so awesome now, and he's going to take such a huge step. And I predicted this guy, Steven. I predicted him to take a big step and be a breakout player this year, and he's making me look bad, and I'm not going to have that shit much longer. My man better do something here in the next couple of weeks. I will fucking turn on this dude in a hurry.
Tell me, Zach, you have to tell me, what do they see in him at this point in time? Why is he getting more? Why is he taking snaps away from other people at this point in time? If he's on the field for,
he's not. He's only on the field for 25% of the snaps. So how could he be taking snaps away from guys?
He shouldn't be on the field then. He shouldn't be on the field. He should be dressing healthy. Scratch him. Give me somebody who can be more.
But there's no excuse for why he's not on the field for more than 25% of the snaps. I don't care if he's on the field for 90% of the snaps and doesn't make a single goddamn catch. Okay, now we can complain about something. You were on the field for all those plays and didn't do shit. When you're on the field for 25% of the snaps, what the hell? I mean, we have nobody at wide receiver. It's not like we've got like Calvin Johnson out there fucking taking reps away from people. Everybody should have been right around the same amount of reps to me. I don't really understand him having 25%.
We're going to address Joseph's one more comment, and then we're going to get on to the Rams. He's basically, he said he's on the Zach Ertz side of the trade argument. He deserves the top 4 money, but Eagles don't have it.
Exactly. Nobody's arguing that he deserves
tight end. Basically, as good as Ertz, but doesn't block, and then the run after catch stuff. Goddard does both of those things well, so.
I think we all agree that it's not that Ertz doesn't deserve to be paid that. It's just that the Eagles can't pay him that. This is a business. You can't pay a guy money that we don't have the money to pay. It's just not there. The smart football thing here is to trade the guy and get first round picks or whatever you can get for him. We all love the guy, but you can't handcuff yourself for years to come because you want to show loyalty to somebody that it's just not smart to do. Yes, he deserves that money. Let somebody else overpay him for that.
And then Don, I absolutely think that Deshaun Jackson will play more than 10 snaps against the Rams.
Yeah, D Jackson, another one. Like, that was weird. He comes out after the game. How about his tweet? Oh, I wasn't hurt. I'm all good, Philly. If you weren't hurt, I mean, I don't know what. So what's the deal? Like, what is this? Why are we getting lied to?
We're getting back into the everything that was weird from this week. Like, you had rest days for guys like Cox and Deshaun were getting rest days during the week from practice, and it was like.
I just think they're trying to bullshit me. Like, what do you don't stop lying to me? Like, you didn't play something happened, Deshaun. Like, you were banged up. We all saw you doing this with your shoulder. Like, something looked like it was fucking hurting you. Maybe you're not hurt seriously, but goddamn, I mean, stop trying to lie to people. Yeah, I'm fine. Oh, we really like where how about Doug's comments about JJ Ortega-Whiteside? We really like where JJ's at, and we like the thing. We plan on him progressing every week and us working him into the game plan more and more. Stop with the nonsense. Stop. I fucking hate that garbage. It's such and Doug's usually good at it. Doug's usually at being like, fuck that nonsense. Here's how it is. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, it's just so frustrating to me right now. You're not fooling anybody. Oh, we like where he's at and he's progressing and he's not progress shit. Bullshit. He hadn't progressed from nothing. He's the same guy we saw last year. And you just tried to sit us and feed us nothing but a bullshit story for the whole offseason about how this guy is all of a sudden such a better player now than he was last year and looks so much more like the guy you drafted, and then you don't even put him on the field for more than 25% of the snaps in week 1. Like, it's just so silly to me. John Hightower has 1 catch for -2 yards. Like, it's
and he dropped another one that could have been a big play for them too. So it's like
he did. But like, to me, like, you drafted all this speed and we think there's a plan. And then I see all this speed out there in week 1 and I see no plan. All I see is, okay, guys, just run as far as you can down the field. That's not a fucking plan. That's not go watch how Kansas City uses all that speed on the field.
The bigger problem is that the Los Angeles Rams didn't look like they're going to be the kicking boy of the NFC West. They looked good against Dallas last week. It was Dallas, but
Aaron Donald looked really good.
Yeah, but he's historically hasn't really made too much noise against us. We made sure we shut them down, but that was totally different offensive lines, totally different situations.
That scares me. He historically isn't good against us. He's due for a breakout game.
Right last week, he threw around Ezekiel Elliott like he was a freaking ragdoll last week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have a little bit of concern where he's going to be lining up at.
I had a conversation with somebody earlier. Of course, they were a Cowboys fan, so you got to try to rub it into their face as much as you can. From what I look at, I think you can look at the Vegas lines of these games, and it'll tell you a lot. Now, I do want to tell me. I mean, we brought this up a little bit last week. Did I not tell you if we lost that game, I wouldn't be surprised because of the fact that we were 7-0. We won 7 straight against the Redskins, and Doug Peterson was 4-0 on opening day, and things like that make you go, okay, hey, like that trend won't continue forever. Something is bound to happen there. You know what I mean? There's weird things like that happen in sports every single year. So I told you I wasn't going to like panic and say, oh, the season's over. But, it's definitely the way we played was a concern. But I told you I wasn't necessarily going to be shocked if we lost. So I wasn't shocked on Sunday. I was just more upset with the way we had played at different points in it. Moving on to the Rams, I think it's the complete opposite. I look at this and I look at it and I say everything adds up to, we're not going to start 0-2 here. You're not going to go lose to the Redskins and then come out and lose at home to the Rams. Like, your backs are against the wall. You're too good of a football team for that. You're way too battle tested for that. Like, everything points to the Eagles winning this game.
Outside of the turnovers and the sacks from the stuff that happened from the pressure and the bad stuff from the offensive line, I think they'll get that corrected this week.
Yeah,
I think Aaron Donald will still be something we'll have to pay attention to and see how we'll be able to kind of nullify what he brings to the table. You still have the fact that there are some different personnel over there. They still have Jalen Ramsey. They're going to be able to at least make it difficult for us to make some of the big plays down the field. Obviously we need Deshaun Jackson to be on the field at least for 50 or 60% of the snaps for this, regardless of you're talking load management. He's injured, whatever nonsense you're trying to shove down our throat. We need some more stuff from. We need to get more targets out of Greg Ward. We need to get Miles Sanders.
Sanders being here is huge.
He needs 15 to 20 touches. We need to figure out I think another thing that killed us last week is we weren't able to do the screen game the way we were able to do it because what was happening up front. And I think hopefully that is situated this week. They'll be able to kind of play that into how we're going to go move forward of attacking that Rams defense. But I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I think 24-17, something that you could be able to pull up at home.
There's the other big thing that people, people, I don't know why people don't, some people like to dismiss it. I mean, it's the evidence is there, and it happens in every sport. Teams that fly from one coast to the other, flying from the West Coast to the East Coast and playing in different time zones it's difficult. Flying from the East Coast to the West Coast, playing in different time zones, it's difficult. Teams have losing records every year when they do that because of how hard it is for a reason. It's similar in basketball to when you play back-to-back, road games. I've had sports gamblers, sports bettors tell me, the second game of that back-to-back, always bet whoever the team's playing. Whoever they're playing, bet that team to win because the second game of the back-to-back is always the hardest to win. Like, there's certain things like that just in every sport. There's trends you got to pay attention to. And that's when the Rams flying from the West Coast, to here after playing what was a primetime game, in week 1 to begin with, that puts a little bit of an advantage in our favor. I think we're pretty even as a football team. I don't think they're I think we're probably right in the same tier of NFC football teams. Like, you've got, probably 3 elite teams and then a bunch of teams that are kind of right in that next tier that could be right there in the playoff conversation. And I think we're right there with them.
We do get a little bit healthier this week.
Get a lot healthier this week.
Javion Hargrove will be ready to go. We know Lane will be back. We know Miles will be back. I'm with you. Even though Barnett looks like he's ready to go, I would prefer Josh Sweat start and get the bulk of the snaps.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
It's your turn.
This is a game to me that, a lot of it is, Miles Sanders is going to become a huge part of your game plan here. You're probably really going to want to try to establish him early, take some pressure off of that offensive line and off of Carson. And then once you can establish him early, hopefully the game plan, now I can't trust this because of what I've been seeing, but Carson's best, like we've always talked about how good when Carson's at his best is when he's moving out of the pocket, he's moving and he's able to move one way or another and then see the whole field and be able to throw. That's where he's at his best. And I thought in the first half, the first 25 minutes of that game, we did a great job of designing things like that. And then for whatever reason, we got away from it. I'd like to see that all game long this week. First of all, him standing in the pocket with Aaron Donald trying to come through the middle of that line is fucking stupid to begin with. You should be moving him left or right every single fucking snap just for that reason. So, I would like to see a lot more of getting the speed guys involved in other ways outside of just running deep routes down the field. Jalen Reagor can catch a bubble screen. You can run bubble screens with Jalen Reagor. There's different things you can do with him outside of just, hey, run a go route or run a deep fade or something like that. Now, we saw the 55-yard reception, big play, and then he was open on the one at the end of the second half, and he took blame for it after the game, and he said, I slowed down at the break of the route, and it was actually a good ball by Carson. I slowed down at the break of it. But those were twice right there, just 2 times in that game in the first half where he got enough separation from a defensive back where those are home run game-breaking plays right there. You know what I mean? So those are at least positive times where if you could hook up on some of those opportunities, you've got game-breaking potential right there. I was definitely excited about that, but you're wasting so much of his ability by just doing that with him all game as opposed to trying to find every possible creative way you can to get the ball in his hands.
Yeah, it's going back to what you're saying and looking like, Doug's lost in some parts of it, like, the scheme and coaching of it, normal things where you would see outlets. You didn't really see outlets, you didn't see enough slants or anything like a lot of fans were clamoring for a lot of stuff. And, we got some half-hearted nonsense excuses as in return. So we'll have to see how that game plan plays out against this team.
One thing I will say about Doug is he always seems to bounce back after games like this. Like if there's a time when it's like there's a lot of criticism facing, the team because of some of his decisions, his game planning, his play calling, the offense and the way they look, we do seem to bounce back, especially in big games against big opponents and rise to the occasion. I think this team is well aware, like they've been battle tested up with everything they've been through. They know they can't start 0-2. Like, this is a must-win football game. As early as it is, like, when you, again, look at teams that start 0-2 and their chances of making the playoffs. It's so much different than 1-1. You're in such a bigger uphill climb. And then 0-3 is even worse. You literally have like a 2% chance, I believe. I think that's the math says it's like a 2% chance to make the playoffs after starting 0-3. So, I mean, I think you're well aware you can't start 0-2. This is a must-win football game. And, even more so because then you got the Bengals next week, and then you've got a little bit of a tough stretch there. The Steelers are in that stretch. The Ravens are in that stretch. There's some challenging football teams in there. So getting off to at least a decent start was very important. You can't go 1-2 to start and then go into that stretch and think, oh, God, we're going to, you lose this football game, things get out of hand in a hurry, or, they have the potential to, and I think this team is well aware of that. They're going to have a good week of practice. Everything coming into this game is going to be about we have to win this football game, and I think we see a really, really good performance from this squad because it's just it's the way the league works. It's a week-to-week league, and as bad as we looked last week, you can look that good this week. It's how do they can they stop Aaron Donald, or do they just have to hope? Okay, the damage he does, that is what it is. He's going to make his plays. We've just got to try to win the game in other facets.
He hasn't even really been that much of a factor in previous games. Like he's had hurries, pressures, and etc. But it hasn't been big sack games.
Brandon Brooks being there really helps with that. Brandon Brooks ain't there now. I think Donald's going to have his way up front a little bit. Like a lot of double teams, a lot of extra help blocking.
Yeah, but I also think they'll scheme that into what they're trying to do. I think that they'll probably it's one of those things where when he's lined up here, they're gonna run it this way. They're going
to intentionally go away from him.
Yeah.
When staring down, well, it's a curl and an out route, bro. That's where the ball's going, and the play was there both times. Both times. The ball placement was a little erratic, and the receivers also didn't help by coming back to the ball. But it's a curl route that's designed like that's the primary target. Like that's where you're going with the football there. And it was there. He just needs to throw the ball better towards the sideline and give his receiver a better chance on the ball. And the receiver also needs to do a better job of coming back to the ball when he sees it's behind him a little bit. Both people are to blame there. But, I mean, he's staring down his primary. Well, there's certain routes where like that's going to happen
again today because I think we've beaten that down enough.
Yeah.
On this.
All that stuff is, these people that want to try to sit here like you never played quarterback before in your life have no idea how to break down game film, and you want to sit here and try to act like, oh, he's staring down his primary receiver. No. The criticism that needs to be brought on him all week is one you brought on earlier, Stephen, about how he held on to the ball too long. Some of those sacks, 8 sacks. I mean, 8 sacks, obviously some of them are on the line. Some of them are also on you as a quarterback. When you get sacked 8 times, I think any quarterback would tell you there's things I could have done differently to prevent myself from getting sacked that many times. You know what I mean? So if you want to look at things that you wanted him to do, complain about things that are legitimate. The one things I can't stand in this fan base is when we nitpick and we complain about things that are fucking irrelevant and they have like no like bearing on what's going on at the moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need him to get the ball out of his hand a little quicker this week and not stand back there and try to extend as many plays. I know he's great at it. That's when he's special and that's when he makes his highlight reel type plays. But you try to extend a play against that Rams defense and Aaron Donald's in your chin strap real quick. You know what I mean? Like
Bill Middlebrook has a point here. He thinks we're going to go 2-4 in the first 6, then go 7-3 in the final 10, wind up 9-7. Need this one bad because if we split the Dallas, this one. All right,
so who does Bill have us losing to? All right, so this is interesting. So let's pull up the Eagles' schedule here, and I've got to figure this out because I don't. If we start 2-4, is that what he said? We're going to start 2-4.
Yeah, 2-4 in the first 6.
Yeah, if we start 2-4, we're fucked. That's just my opinion on that. Let me look at the schedule here though, real quick. Okay.
Next week is against Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's next week, and then we got the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a primetime game.
It should be Richard Shermanless.
Yeah, that's a primetime game. I always think we rise to the occasion in primetime games, so we might be okay. Everybody was worried about that Packers game in primetime. So here we go. I got it. So it's the Rams this week. Then we're back to Bengals, 49ers, Steelers. 49ers, Steelers, Ravens in 3 straight weeks. So he's talking about if we start 2-4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means – I mean, I can see where he's coming from. That was my point for why we had to get off to a 2-1 start. Because if you get off to a 2-1 start, now you have the 49ers, Steelers, and Ravens in 3 straight weeks. You can afford to lose a couple of those games. You're still in okay shape. Starting 0-2 and then, going to face the 49ers, Steelers, and Ravens in 3 straight weeks after you started 0-2, I mean, you might as well kiss your season goodbye. That's almost where I'm at. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you start 0-2 and then you got the Bengals, even if you beat the Bengals next week to go 1-2, you've got 3 straight weeks of the 49ers, Steelers, or Ravens. I mean, you might not win any of those football games at that point. And then you're staring, then you're 1-5. You know what I mean? And it's like 1-5, your season's over. There ain't no coming back from 1-5. So, to me, I don't, 2-4 and 1-5 aren't much different. I can't see you coming back from either one of those. Like, if you're starting off 2-4, you're fucked. Like, you need, that's not okay. They need to win this week. They need to go beat Cincinnati. And then hopefully, best case scenario, you win 2 of the 3 in that 3-week stretch. But, realistically, you probably win 1 of the 3. And if you're going 2-1,
did someone hurt you?
Stick with me here. If you go 2-1, right? Say we beat the Rams and we beat the Bengals, then we go 1-2 in that 3-week stretch. So now we're 3-3 to start the year after week 6. And you can you can go from 3-3. You're 3-3 after 6 weeks. You can go from there and still make a run at the playoffs and all that.
Yeah.
But 2-4, 1-5 is a little bit different to me.
I don't know. I see. I think they can. I don't see them going 2-4. I can see them probably going 3. I think they're going 3-3 in that first 6.
I'm with you. I think 3-3 is a good number there. And if we're anything better than that, it's like, okay, wow, hey, like this team's a little bit more resilient than maybe we thought after the first couple weeks, type of thing. But I mean, there's still, that stretch, like he acts like, say we were to start 2-4 and go with Bill's theory. I mean, that stretch after that, to go 7-3 after that is tough. I mean, here's your games after that. You've got the Giants, Cowboys, Giants, Browns, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, Cardinals, Cowboys, and then Washington again. We're going 7-3 if we start 2-4 with those teams on the schedule. I mean, dude, like that's tough to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I don't trust us going with. That's like, to me, that's wishful thinking. If we start like 2-1, we go 3-3, then maybe I'm taking 6 or 4 and something like that the rest of the way, and I could see it. I don't see 7-3 in that 10 game stretch. I just don't. There's a lot of good football teams in that stretch.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I think 6-4 is like, hey, like I'll take that win, and like that's a win to me. Like no takesy backsies on that. If you told me we win 6 of those 10, that's a tough schedule. I mean, we don't really have cupcake games.
The Browns in there, there've been them Odell rumors popping up again.
I would love Odell. Odell could come play here in a heartbeat.
I'm not even talking about here in general. I'm just talking about just him being traded again.
They're not going to trade him. I mean, listen, that's it's so those types of things are going to happen when you have a lot of egos and big personalities on one team. Did you see the end of that Thursday night game? How they were all sitting on the bench together? Him, Odell, Jarvis Landry. That is not a group. Like those dudes are like how are we going to continue to do this going forward and win football games? That's all outside noise. I mean, I really think that's just a bunch of nonsense because Odell is Odell and all those rumors always float around the league. I think when you saw their attitude together on the bench at the end of that football game, I didn't. At that moment, I dismissed all that. I was like, I don't really see any of that happening. They're way too committed to each other for any of that to happen.
Yeah, and then what was the other guy? The what was it, Patrick Robinson or Allen Robinson, the guy from Chicago?
Allen Robinson. Yeah, I mean, again, people want us to trade for him. Why does Allen Robinson want out of Chicago? Why is he unhappy?
Mitchell Trubisky's his quarterback.
Well, that might make me unhappy too. But he wants money. He wants a contract extension, and he wants money.
Can't come here.
Exactly. Like, we need to trade for this guy, and then what? And then sign him with what? Your money? Like, who's we're negative $50 million. Like, starting next year, we're negative $50 million in cap. Now, yeah, obviously you can do a little, certain things to help that situation, but negative $50 million is a lot of cap. That's a lot of space to open up. Like, you can do it in 14, but you're not going to be able to sign big time players like that long term to these big time extensions. Like, that's just not the way it's going to work. So these ideas that we're going to trade for somebody like that are just unrealistic. It's just not. I would love for us to have a big-time receiver like that. We got to hope a Jalen Reagor turns into that guy for us. That's what we need. We need somebody on one of these rookie contracts to turn into that guy.
We need to receive. Listen, if Jalen continues to look the way he's looked at that first week and continues to get more opportunities, more targets, etc., why do you need to trade for anybody?
You don't.
If there is a situation and there's a world exists where you can get Odell and not really have to give up too much.
If I could trade a third for Odell, oh my God. Now I might say, okay, fuck it, let's do it, and I'll figure out everything else later. I just might, but realistically, when you're just looking at it, Cleveland's probably not going to give a third for Odell Beckham. They're getting the fuck out of here is what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? They're 1-1 right now. As bad as they looked against Baltimore, that offense looked. At times it looked pretty good against Cincinnati. That defense looked really good. Myles Garrett looked phenomenal, earning his money. I told you, I'm on the record now, so I can't back out of it. Right, as much as I wanted to after week 1, they're going to win more games than Tennessee. Man, am I going to regret that one at the end of the year? But what are you going to do? You got to ride and die with the stupid shit you say when you're drinking. So, but I don't think they're just going to give him up. But when you look at this situation, we're in a position where we need young guys that we drafted on rookie contracts to become impact players for us. That's where we're at. We can't afford to go out and sign, big time impact players. If we could have done that, we probably would have traded for DeAndre Hopkins because let's be honest, he was worth what they gave up for him, but we couldn't afford to sign the extension that he was going to sign after that. So you can't do it. Odell, same problem, big contract. Those Allen Robinson, same thing, can't do it. He wants money, wants too much money. So when you're in a position where you can't sign free agents or trade for guys and sign big contracts, you just got to hope that at some point you hit on a draft pick and somebody turns into a guy for you. And I know we don't have a good track record of that, but that's what we've got to hope for right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a rough situation to be in, with our cap situation. But I really just,
I liked what I saw from Reagor. Did you like it?
Now, what about them bringing Freeman in during the week for a workout? And
absolutely. I mean, what I don't understand about it is why do we wait till now? We could have done this before the Washington game. Like me and you sat here and said Boston Scott and Corey Clement ain't gonna cut it, man. They can't carry the load if Miles Sanders is out. And it took them actually playing in a game.
Look at that. They couldn't do it.
Look at that. Look at this. Oh, shocker. They actually couldn't do it, and they sucked. And just like we all predicted, We needed somebody else to be in there.
We all love the production that we've gotten out of Corey and Boston and stuff like that. But, I think it's something that even Tommy sitting there said earlier in the week, like, when have we produced a running back that, just was a lower
straight between the tackles,
and not just
run it down your throat type of guy.
Not just have a season or stretch a game. Just a name someone. Give me
Deuce Staley's the last time we had a running back of that kind.
Not Deuce Staley. That's not Brian Westbrook. Give me somebody.
Charlie Garner.
He was in the first 3 rounds, wasn't he?
I don't know how. I don't remember exactly that. But I remember
a second or third round pick or something like that.
I know he had some good years for us when Bobby Hoying and guys like that were playing quarterback, and it was just god fucking awful. My God, that was my early childhood. Oh
yeah,
some of my first Eagles memories. How about that? Now this is how you know I'm a loyal, diehard fan. My first Eagles memories involved Bobby Hoying playing quarterback and shit, bro.
My first Eagles memories. I remember Randall Cunningham and Ron Jaworski splitting quarterback duties.
You're old.
Stop reminding me of these things.
So those Buddy Ryan teams were they had to have been your favorites then. I've got an older brother close to your age. He was born in 82, so yeah, he's gonna be 38 this year. Just turned 38 this year. Those were his favorite teams. Those Buddy Ryan teams of the late 80s, early 90s.
I love them teams. Seth, Reggie, Clyde, Andre Borders, Izal, those are the ones I grew up with.
Yeah,
and I didn't love the Ray Rhodes teams and all that too, man.
Yeah, but at least Ray Rhodes got us to the playoffs one year, right?
Yeah, you remember that linebacker curve? What did Ray Rhodes have? What was it Bill Romanowski, Kirk Govea?
Oh, Bill Romanowski! What a fucking Bill Romanowski! Oh man, they don't make football players like Bill Romanowski no more. The guys like Bill Romanowski don't they couldn't play in today's NFL. Oh man, he used and you know what? He was one of those guys that, as good of a football player as he was, he knew how to play the mind games with you too. He knew how to get in your head. And I love guys like that.
The Eagles should just tank for Trevor Lawrence. And oh my God!
See, exactly.
They're not tanking for Trevor Lawrence. They're not going to another quarterback. Stop with the nonsense. The hell? Are we seriously still God.
Yeah, I was arguing, one of my, life mentors is a huge Oklahoma fan, and he's literally tagging me on Facebook throughout the course of the game. They need to put in Jalen Hurts. And I'm like, Jalen Hurts isn't even dressed. It's you feel like you're arguing with a bunch of preschoolers. Oh my God, these people that they just don't get it. They really don't. There's so much more to it than just look how bad Carson's playing. Oh yeah, look how bad everybody's playing. It's just I figured out these Carson Wentz haters a long time ago, Steven. It's okay. I figured these guys out a long time ago. First of all, 90% of them are like the dudes we knew in high school, or the people we knew in high school, guy or girl for that matter. Think of somebody that slept with somebody, they get laid for the first time, and then they just become absolutely obsessed with the person that they lost their virginity to. That's these Eagles fans that are obsessed with Nick Foles still over Carson Wentz and shit. They remind me of the people in high school that get laid for the first time and then just get completely obsessed with the piece of pussy that they fucked for the first time, and they just can't move on from it. It's dude, she doesn't give a fuck about you. But they can't move on from it. And these people are grown-ass men, and that's how they act in this situation. But I figured them out. They hate on Carson Wentz every chance they get, and then they go completely silent for the 10-week stretch where he carries the football team on his back and is the sole reason, reason why we're winning football games. They just go silent.
Just wait for him to get injured. Just wait for him to get injured.
Yeah, that's what they do. They're a bunch of cockroaches. They're just that as Cowboys fans. They sit here, and when he's playing well, they just crawl into their little hole, completely silent. You don't hear from them. You can tag them on Facebook. They don't respond. They just sit there in silence, and then the first chance they get, they'll pop out. See what I said? He's not the guy. He's been playing good football for 6 straight weeks. He has one bad game, and they pop out from their fucking hole, the hidey hole that they were hiding in probably their mom's basement somewhere. Let's be honest, but they pop out and they want to sit here and criticize the guy about how bad he is. It's just stop. You guys, for the 3 or 4 weeks a year that he plays bad, you sit here and rip the guy, just unmercifully, and then he carries the team on his back for a 12-week, for 12 games, for an eight game stretch, he carries the team on his back, and he's one of the best players in football, and they're nowhere to be found. That's what they've are, and that's what they've always been. So to me, I just laugh at them at this point. We get way too worked up with those people in this city because that's just what we do.
It's just because of the drum that's getting beaten in the drum.
Exactly, it gets annoying. Exactly, but I mean, that's what they are, is it not? Like, did I not just nail every Carson Wentz hater that you know? Like, just saying.
Pretty much. But I think that's pretty much going to get to the end of this week's show. Obviously.
Well, you got to give a prediction for Sunday.
You got to give me your thoughts on your prediction, your score prediction, brother. Player of the game. What do you got?
Player of the game. I'll go Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders has a big game on the ground and a big game in the air. I think we, as an offense, put all the things that we were worried about and bitching about last week. I think for at least for 1 week, because we know how we are, we're week to week in this fan base. At least for 1 week, we're going to be very, very happy with what we saw offensively. The offense is going to bounce back with a huge performance. I got us winning 35-24.
I'm still going to say I still think it's going to be, moderately close, 24-17. The players of the game is going to be our Eagles defensive line. I think with Javion Hargrove being back, I think the fact that you'll have a Brandon Graham out there for 4 quarters. Whatever they're going to do with Derek Barnett. The fact that I think they ran the ball a lot against Dallas last week, and they seen what we did against the run, and I think you're going to see them go more air against us this week, which is going to give that defensive front more chances to get after Jared Goff like we have in the past. And I think we're able to get it done that way. Again, 24.
I'd like to see a few turnovers this week.
I would like to see some. I would like to see Slay to get something.
Yeah, he could definitely have a big game. He's somebody that you look at, and because the way the Rams are, like offensively,
if reality really goes to it, I say Avonte Maddox is going to be the guy they're going to attack this week, and he might wind up with.
I'll just go out on a limb and have some fun, and I'll say our defensive player of the game is going to be Nikel Roby-Coleman against his former team. Have a big game. He'll get a pick.
Yeah, I actually got to talk to you about that. I've seen a lot of Rams fans because I got a lot of people on my Twitter were very upset at the fact
you're a rock star
that he was trading team secrets. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that what teammates do when they go?
That's exactly what the hell they do. Hey, you know what you got to do to make Jared Goff suck? Not much, because he's not that good to begin with. But no, I mean, I think he could have You see what I think what we saw them do against the Cowboys. They tried to get guys like Van Jefferson involved and things like that. I could Slay. Slay could have a big game, but I think one thing with Slay is there's also always the chance of they don't really throw his way a lot because he's such a good lockdown corner that there's not really a lot of opportunity, so he doesn't really have the chances to make some plays. And if that's the case, that means they go somewhere else with the football, which means they could have a chance to try to make some plays in the slot, which puts Roby-Coleman in a position to make some plays. Could see him having a big game. He's going to be motivated to have a big game. Anytime you play your former team, you want to have a big game. So he gets a pick. Maybe has a few tackles, and he makes a big play for us at some point in the game. How about that?
Yeah. Again, this game will be won up front, and it all boils down.
Yeah, it's on both sides here too. Because we're talking about two. Obviously the Rams. Donald is phenomenal, and we have a good defensive line too. And you would like to think, based on how football works, whatever team's going to get to the quarterback more, get more pressure, more sacks, hit the quarterback more times, things like that, is going to affect the football game in a positive way for that team. I think top to bottom, we've got the better defensive line. I don't know about you. Like, I know Donald, he's a stud, but top to bottom, depth-wise, I think our D-line overall is way better. Even if Donald gets a couple sacks and makes a few big plays, if you can keep the rest of the defensive line for, the rest of the Rams defense in check, okay, so Aaron Donald gets his because that's what he does. Okay, that's fine. If those are the only couple sacks we give up all game, good. We're still in good shape. And maybe just try to worry about maybe neutralizing him a little bit as opposed to stopping him, because you're probably not going to stop him with our linemen. Just try to neutralize him the best way you can. The quick passes, the draw plays with Miles Sanders, things like that.
Yeah.
Do you think they get Goddard in?
I still crying like a little girl.
Who is?
We're still getting this little girl crying in the comments, and they're saying, "You guys are gonna be bitching again next week with your excuses. Golf is better than Wednesday."
I mean, I don't think we made a single goddamn excuse. So
really have no lives.
First of all, where the hell was this guy when we were just ripping this team unmercifully, start to finish, about 20 minutes ago or whatever? Where was he then? Silence.
Oh man.
See, go back to your mom's basement. Put on your footy pajamas and watch the grown men talk about sports, okay, child?
Nah, tell him to go back to playing Fortnite because that's probably what he's doing.
Grown man playing Fortnite. Nothing creepier.
Pretty much. But on that note, let's
before I get us in trouble. On that note,
let's put a fork in this week's episode. We'll be back next week with
we're not canceled.
Our Rams post game thoughts, our Eagles and Bengals preview. Obviously, make sure you guys are tuned in for everything on tomorrow. Obviously, with everything going on in the NFL Week 2 action, there will definitely be something going on post game here on A2D Radio. Stay tuned, my friends. Stay tuned.
You always want to stay tuned. One way or another, the reactions you get, like whether Tom's pissed or whether Tom's fired up in a good way. I mean, either way, like you can't miss those Tom Arnone, no note live reaction videos. It's good stuff there. So
yeah, but before we wrap it up, real quick, one final word from our sponsors, and let's show some love to Philly drinkers today. Make sure you guys are checking it out. You see, I got the gear, I got the hat, I got the shirt. Also, the fall line's coming out. They're gonna have some socks, blankets. I've seen some fleece pullovers just come out. And here, there's some more stuff going out, so make sure you guys are heading over to PhillyDrinkers.com, getting your A2D gear. Also, obviously, they have another line besides what we got. And, as far as any of your Philly sports fans, make sure you check out, the hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, stickers, whatever. Make sure you're showing Philly Drinkers some love. Other than that, I'm Steve. I'm Zach. This was another episode of the Weekly Roundup. We'll see you guys next week.